Oh, hello. There I am. Forgot to add myself to my own podcast. It's Josh Bo. It's Pod Maverick after afternoon. About 3:10, a little, not even 3:10, a little after 3 o'clock Texas time. Just me tonight, as Kirk is away for personal reasons and still needs to take some time for himself. So it is just going to be me for what is likely going to be another short podcast because I don't really even know what to talk about anymore as the Mavericks lose another game, and I will keep being in the dark. I will turn the lights on when the Mavericks win a game. That's the deal. How about that? Until then, I will continue to podcast in my hovel in the darkness. In fact, the only real source of light that you're seeing on my face right now is because the ESPN box score is that blinding white, and I've got that on my second monitor right now. So whatever. That's just the way we're gonna roll with it. Mavericks lose again, eighth time in 9 games. This time 130-125 to the Philadelphia 76ers, a team that entered tonight having only won 2 of their last 17 games. A team that did not have Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid, or Paul George, amongst other players that are also hurt for them. No Kelly Oubre. I think they were missing 10 players tonight. So the Mavericks ran into a team, the only other team in the NBA, I think, that has a worse roster situation than they do right now. And the Mavericks still found themselves down by 14 points at home. So that just kind of goes to show you where the Mavericks season is right now. Down 14 points at home to this Sixers team, despite the fact that the Mavericks got PJ Washington coming back, despite the fact that the last game the Mavericks got lost by 37 points to the Houston Rockets. So you anticipate that there would have been a little bit more motivation to perhaps play well and get the win. And the Mavericks almost stole it at the end because the Sixers are not very good right now, but they didn't because they got down by 14 points in the fourth quarter to this awful team. This is really an inexcusable loss, even when you look at what's going on with the Mavericks right now. Klay Thompson, Najee Marshall, PJ Washington, Max Christie, even Spencer Dinwiddie. That should be enough to beat, a team playing Justin Edwards, Jared Butler, Ricky Council, O'Shea Brissett, Jeff Doughton, Jalen Hood-Schifino, who scored a career high 19 points. I think he made 5 3-pointers today, and I think in his entire career he made 2. So, I mean, it's not like the Mavericks got beat by a bunch of, by a playoff team here or even a scrappy young team with a lot of lottery picks. This was another team that is just as down bad, if not more down bad, really, than the Mavericks. And the Mavericks lost, and they had a chance at the end only because the Sixers kind of gave it away. But to lose the third quarter, 34-18, to then go down by 14 points in the fourth quarter at home, when PJ Washington is absolutely killing it. He had 29 points and 12 rebounds. That's a shame. That's a damn shame. I know that a lot of people are going to celebrate this loss. A lot of Mavericks fans are going to celebrate this loss for Team Tank. And I get it, not going to raid on Team Tank's parade. But if you're someone that's still watching because the Mavericks are probably going to be a play-in team, the Phoenix Suns could move into the 10th seed with a win today. They're currently down 31-15 to the Los Angeles Lakers without LeBron James. So the Mavericks could keep losing, but the Suns might keep losing too. And by default, the Mavericks might be playing a game with playoff ramifications, which means we still kind of have to watch this team and care about them to some degree. At least I have to. This game, the Mavericks got shot variance. That's kind of long and short of it. The Mavericks made 10 3-pointers. The Philadelphia 76ers made 14. Philly is an awful 3-point shooting team. I think for the season, they're around 34%. They were made 38.9 today, and they were near 41 for most of the game. Both teams shot the ball extremely well because neither team played a center. Yershon Yabusele and PJ Washington were the only true big men to play the game, and both of those guys are presumably 4s. And the thing is, when you don't play any centers, it's really easy to score. There's not a lot of rim protection. Both teams scored very well in the paint. The Sixers backloaded a lot of their paint points in the second half. They had 58 points in the paint. The Mavericks had 62. It was pretty much a free path to the rim for both teams because, again, there's no shot blocking at all in this game. The Sixers' 58 points in the paint, though, is pretty impressive considering I think they only had like 10. They had under 20, I think, in the first half. So they did a lot of damage in the second half at the rim after shooting 10 making 10 3-pointers in the first half. Like everyone predicted, Quentin Grimes had his revenge game. Had 28 points. Wasn't a game high, but a team high for Philadelphia. 28 points, 6 assists, 2 steals, 10 of 19 from the floor, 6 of 9 from the free throw line, 2 of 7 from 3. He got the Sixers into trouble late a little bit, had a turnover, had some bad shots because he was clearly going for the kill shot in the fourth quarter. And that opened things up for the Mavericks to get back into the game. But otherwise, he was Philadelphia's best player on the floor, which just shoves the knife a little bit more into the back of Mavericks fans after what will go down as one of the low-key, one of the worst trades in NBA history. Caleb Martin and a second-round pick for Quentin Grimes. Caleb Martin did not play today. He had his hip injury. I don't know if he re-injured it against Houston or if this was just a maintenance rest day, but he did not play. The Mavericks did a good job of exposing Philadelphia's lack of rim protection with PJ Washington getting a bunch of 2-pointers near the basket. PJ didn't make a 3. He was 0 for 3. But he was 11 of 14 from 2-point range. So much of that was in the paint too, hook shots, drives, post-ups. It was smart. That was the one thing I think the Mavericks did that was very smart today. Was they realized they were finally playing against a team that also didn't have any bigs, so they just set PJ at the rim repeatedly and often, whether it was from drives outside the paint or, doing some screens, block-to-block screens to get him going to the other side of the block to free him up for some post-ups and some short hook shots. He was found for some dump-offs as well. That was good. Otherwise, mixed bag. Max Christie had a great game, 18 points on 8 shots, 8 rebounds, 3 assists. Got his confidence back a little bit after he kind of hit a bit of a wall. So it was good to see him make some shots. Defensively, the Mavericks didn't really do anything. I mean, the Mavericks defense right now is horrible. It is horrifying because not only do the Mavericks not have any rim protection, PJ Washington right now is their best rim protector. He's pretty good, but otherwise they got nothing. They don't have perimeter defenders really either. Max Christie is okay, but he has his limitations. He's not bona fide kind of lockdown guy. Najee Marshall with his size does okay at times. But like Brandon Williams, Klay Thompson, Dinwiddie, like they're getting roasted off the perimeter. And that's what led to a lot of Philadelphia's threes is because the Mavericks had to help on drives. And of course you're going to help on drives because you're going to if the choice is let Philly score a layup or let them shoot a 3, you're going to let this Philly team shoot threes. The Mavericks kind of had to because they couldn't get any stops on the perimeter. And Philadelphia got them into rotation and got open threes and they made 14 of 36. Then when the Mavericks tried to cut off the threes because they were drowning, Philadelphia kind of scored at will at the paint. There was nothing the Mavericks should really do to stop them. And this Philly team is not very good. The Mavericks defense is in a horrible, horrible place right now. Dallas had a chance to tie it at the end, 12 seconds left with the ball down 3. Spencer Dinwiddie shot a very strange 3-pointer. Where he caught the ball, turned, and fired with like 10, 11 or 10 seconds left. It was a very weird shot. Devin Harris at the time said he wondered if Philadelphia was going to foul to prevent the Mavericks from getting off a 3. So Dinwiddie wanted to shoot before Philadelphia could foul. When you frame it like that, it makes a little bit more sense. But if you're going to do that, you probably need to crash the offensive glass a little bit better if that's your plan. Like if that was the plan. And the 4 other Mavericks were just standing at the 3-point line, not going for the ball really. So that was pretty bad. Execution was bad all night because the Mavericks don't have any real point guards. I mean, it's Brandon Williams and it's Spencer Dinwiddie. Dinwiddie did okay, 7 assists and 1 turnover in terms of taking care of the ball, but that was about it. The Mavericks had 15 turnovers. Their starting lineup alone had 7, 9, 10, 11 turnovers. PJ Washington had 4. Brandon Williams had 3. Dinwiddie played 36 minutes. Like I don't know what you're supposed to do. I mean, they can't. I mean, you can't really play Dinwiddie anymore. This is just kind of how the team is. They don't have any real bona fide point guard. Like Dinwiddie is it, and Brandon Williams is going to go away because he's going to run out of two-way eligibility. So you got to hope Jaden Hardy comes back from his ankle injury. But even then, Jaden Hardy's not a real point guard. He's more of an off-ball scoring threat. So their struggles with turnovers is going to continue because they just don't have any guards. Dante Exum broke his bone in his left hand. I doubt he's not going to come back. I doubt he'll be back for the season ends. So Dinwiddie is going to be your main guard going forward, and he's done a pretty good job handling the ball. But he's one guy. Everyone else has to do a bit better job, and I don't know if they can. So that's kind of the game in the nutshell. Mavs defense bad, no rim protection. Philly defense also bad. They have no rim protection, but Philly made more threes. Philly had 11 turnovers. The Mavericks had 15. Philly made 14 three-pointers. The Mavericks made 10. And that's kind of the game. The Mavericks got to the free throw line more, but it was pretty even. Philly made 20 free throws. The Mavericks made 23, so not an overwhelming advantage there. Offensive rebounds were pretty similar. Second chance points were pretty similar because, again, neither team could really rebound because neither team was playing a real true center for most of the game. So that's it. But this is, when you look at the Mavericks closing schedule, it's not too terribly difficult. But this was one of the, like, if you can't win this game, what game are you going to win? After this, the Mavericks play Indiana, Detroit, Brooklyn, New York, Orlando, Chicago, Brooklyn, Atlanta, Clippers twice, Lakers, Toronto, Memphis. I mean, all of those teams are significantly better than the 76ers. So the Mavericks are going to have to run into some three-point variance luck to pick up some wins to close out the season if Derek Lively or Anthony Davis or Daniel Gafford don't return, which who knows? We still don't have a good key on that. So that's the game. I wanted to now talk briefly about kind of the post-game hubbub because there's really not much else to talk about with this game. During the game, I can't remember exactly when PJ Washington was shooting free throws. In between, while he was shooting free throws, there were some fans loudly chanting "Fire Nico." PJ and Najee Marshall both kind of yapped back at the fans, telling them to shut up, which that's instigating this emotional fan base right now is definitely not going to help. PJ, after the game, to Mike Curtis of the Dallas Morning News, said, at the end of the day, the trades happened. We understand we have a new team now. All that Fire Nico stuff, we're sick and tired of hearing it. We just want to go out there and play, and we need the fans. We need the fans support us no matter who's on the floor. That's just how I feel about it. That's gonna probably piss off some more people. I don't blame PJ at all. These guys had nothing to do with the trade. This was a very frustrating game for them, I'm sure. These players had nothing to do with what the Mavericks leadership did, and they feel like they're the ones getting punished for it. Nico Harrison, I know he's probably dealing with some stuff with some of the threats and some of the jeering he's getting. I'm sure if he tries to go to a grocery store right now, he's not having a good time. So, not to say that the Mavericks leadership is getting off with this scot-free, but the fans' only real place to show their displeasure of this trade that has pretty much nuked this team are the games, which sounds a little counterintuitive because if you really want to hurt the Mavericks front office and ownership, don't spend money on the team. Don't take away from their bottom line. And I'm sure Patrick Dumont, the Mavericks governor, will notice that a lot more than if fans are in the arena chanting. So again, I understand the guys on the floor are just trying to play. And they have to deal with this, and that sucks. But also the fans have to deal with this too, and that sucks too. The fans didn't make this trade either. So it's really a lose-lose. I don't blame PJ for being mad, but I also don't blame the fans for doing what they want to do. If you want to say don't go to the games, don't spend your money, sure. Don't do that. But some of these fans have season ticket packages that they got to go to these games because they can't get rid of them. They probably can't sell them. So there's that. And the fans are mad and they feel like this is the best way to make their voice heard. And if it's coming at the expense of the team, I mean, what are you going to do? They're mad. They didn't want to make this trade either. So I get it. One thing I would advise to PJ and the Mavericks is if you don't want fans disrupting your game, chanting "Fire Nico," maybe don't get down by 14 points to a very crappy Philadelphia 76ers team at home. Just a suggestion. Don't lose this game. I have to wonder that the frustrations of this loss might have spilt into how the Mavericks players were reacting to this because they haven't really reacted to it that much before. But this was kind of the worst loss of the season. So there's a lot of emotions, and they're probably the players are probably just as pissed off right now as the fans for their effort, because it kind of feel. I mean, the season is over. I mean, it feels like. I mean, I know it feels like that, but it really is over after this kind of loss. I mean, don't know what they're supposed to do here. So yeah, it's unfortunate. PJ reached the limit. These guys are human. They're going to reach a limit. I don't really know what else to do. It's unfortunate, and it just goes back to again, it's still a story. We still have to talk about this because it just keeps coming up because it was so bad. Like no one's going to get over it, and I don't know. Again, I don't blame PJ for being mad, but I also don't blame the fans because it's two parties that are mad for different reasons. In terms of like the Mavericks are mad because they just want to play and they want to get past this. The fans are mad because their organization, their franchise that they root for is for the most part destroyed. So two somewhat different, but they're both caused by the same thing. The reason the Mavericks players are mad, the reason the fans are mad is because the front office traded Luka and nuked any chance of this team being a championship contender for the foreseeable future. There's nothing you could do about it. Like, what are you going to do? Tell the fans to calm down? Like, I doubt these PJ comments are going to go over well with the fan base, but also, like, what? I don't know what else he's supposed to say. You know, you can only be quiet and keep smiling through it for so long until this stuff you become visibly frustrated. So it just goes to show how ugly this situation is and that it's not going to get any better anytime soon. And I feel sorry for the fans. I feel sorry for the players. I feel sorry for anyone that has to kind of live with this decision that the front office made going forward, despite the fact that they had no input on it at all. Like, obviously, Nico is probably getting jeered in public wherever he goes, and all that stuff. And that's whatever. But he made the decision. Like, he brought it upon himself to some degree when you make such a catastrophically awful trade as he did. The players didn't make the trade and the fans didn't make the trade, and they're mad and they got nothing they can really do about it because they didn't do any. They weren't the ones that did it. So it sucks. I don't know how it's going to get better. Just need to get to the off season really and let people kind of forget about the team right now, which sounds awful, but that's kind of where it needs to go. And then we'll be back next time, I guess, because I'm done. I'm done talking. Mavericks next play Wednesday at Indiana, early tip-off time, 6:00. Kirk may or may not be back. If not, it'll be just me. If the Mavericks lose, I'll be in my dark closet. If not, I'll turn on the lights and we'll be happy because Mavericks win, right? But we'll see. Again, Mavericks loses to Philadelphia 76ers 130-125. Dallas is now 33-36 on the season. And they are clinging to their 10th seed for that final play-in spot as the Phoenix Suns continue to match them in losses. So we will see. This is Josh Bowe for Pod Maverick After Dark. I'm getting out of here. I'm going to enjoy the rest of my Sunday. I suggest you guys do the same. Be safe. We'll talk to you guys later.